solved, which is on the other end of the country. But that's another topic. Richard wants to speak to us from Woodford.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you're live on air. Go for it.
Hi, Maajid. I just wanted to ask you, is there anything that the Pakistani government, the Taliban, let's go to ISIS, let's go to anything like that, is there anything that they're doing that Mohammed wouldn't have sanctified, that he would not have said is worth doing? Is there anything
that's a slightly different topic there, Richard. No, wait a minute. Richard, hold on a minute. You can't call into a radio show and try and hijack the conversation a bit like... hold on a minute, Richard. You can't call into a radio station, try and hijack the conversation a bit like Al-Qaeda and shift it off to something else. We're talking about Afghanistan and our troop surge. Let's not try and change the conversation. I've got a book on that. Richard, hold on. Richard, listen, Richard, you're a guest on this show. Hold on, there's some decorum. We're on a specific subject. You've called in under a pretense you're going to speak about that subject. Do you have anything to say about our troop surge into Afghanistan?
Yes, I would. I'd like to say that our troops should stay where they belong and defend where they have come from, which, in fact, someone like yourself who went to prison for Islamic-related incidents should not be voicing his opinion on our Western belief and how we live. That's my opinion, and I'm free to say it because we're not in Pakistan and we're not in these countries that you seem so wonderful in defending.
Richard.
So what I suggest you do...
Richard, you sound like a clown.
That you've offended. When you debate people like Douglas Murray, you look a fool.
What?
You look a fool, and you know it. You don't say what. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
But Richard, hold on a minute. Calm down.
You're a hypocrite. Do you believe in Mohammed or not?
Calm down, sir. Calm down, Richard. Relax a minute. Take a breath.
Calm, my good man.
You don't sound it. Richard, take a breath. Richard,
do you believe he flew to heaven on a winged horse?
Take a breath, Richard. Take a breath. Relax. And let's first begin with what you just said 2 seconds ago before we get back to the subject of religion.
You're the one avoiding my questions.
No. I'm trying to stick to the subject of the hour, which is troop surge in Afghanistan, which you did address in a roundabout way. You did address by saying that you don't think I have an opinion on it because I'm not British. So perhaps...
It's just one track.
What's the... So perhaps if you can explain to me what you think my opinion is, because...
Your opinion is some sort of mythical reformation, which we both know is never going to happen.
Richard, if you... One more time. If you try and divert this conversation to a different topic, then I'm going to have to move on. If you want to speak... And by the way, you are free to speak, because thankfully we have a free country, and that's fully democratic, pluralistic, secular, and open, which doesn't sound like the sort of thing you want. However, the point is, Richard, you are free to speak, but radio stations have structure to them. We're currently on the topic of a troop surge to Afghanistan. On that topic, if you want to move away from it, I'm going to have to move you off, because you've got a full switchboard.
So once again, Islam runs away.
Richard, mate, listen. You know what? This is ridiculous. Richard, people like you who want to bring everything back to foreigners. People like me not belonging here, religion, Islam, why do you believe in it? Frankly, it's disgusting. You've called in a radio show to hijack the topic, to grind your own axe, and you've made your racist overtones very clear because you've suggested that I don't belong in this debate nor in this country because I'm of Pakistani origin. I tried my best to be welcoming, accommodating, which is more than I can say for you, by allowing you multiple times to stick to the topic. And all you wanted to do, a bit like an Islamist extremist, is define me by religion and talk to me about religion when we're trying to talk about something else. People like you and the Islamist extremists are both hell-bent on turning this world into a conflict between jihadists versus crusaders. And you feed off each other. You sustain each other. You provide nutrition and ammunition to each other and your respective narratives. In fact, you'd probably be upset that the other enemy that you define yourself against didn't exist, because it would give you no longer any reason to justify your own anger and hate against the rest of the world. So move on, jog on, Richard, jog on from Woodford, because actually your attempt to hijack the conversation was puerile, infantile, and unnecessary. Ahmed wants to speak to us from New Malden.
Good morning, Maajid.